It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people.
The fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran appears to be hanging by a thread after fresh military strikes, retaliatory attacks, and increasingly hostile rhetoric from both sides. U.S. President Donald Trump has now declared that, as far as he is concerned, the truce is over. Following American strikes on Iranian targets and Tehran's reported attacks on U.S. military facilities in the Gulf, the latest escalation comes just weeks after both countries agreed to a temporary understanding aimed at ending months of fighting. So, what exactly caused the ceasefire to unravel?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Woodcoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon.
The immediate trigger was a series of attacks on commercial vessels near the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's busiest energy choke points, through which nearly 1/5 of global oil trade passes. The United States blamed Iran for targeting 3 commercial ships, saying the attacks violated one of the ceasefire's most important commitments, ensuring safe navigation for international shipping. The incidents immediately reignited military tensions and shook global energy markets. Washington responded with one of its largest operations since the ceasefire began. U.S. Central Command said American forces struck more than 80 Iranian targets, including air defense systems, command centers, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile batteries, and dozens of Revolutionary Guard fast boats operating near the Strait of Hormuz. According to the Pentagon, the objective was to reduce Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping and restore freedom of navigation through the strategic waterway. Iran retaliated within hours. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claimed responsibility for missile and drone attacks targeting American military facilities in Bahrain and Kuwait, including the U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters and Ali al-Salem Air Base. Gulf countries activated their air defense systems as the conflict once again spread beyond Iranian territory, raising fears that the confrontation could draw more countries into the crisis. Military action was only part of the problem. Another major flashpoint was Washington's decision to revoke a temporary sanctions waiver that had allowed Iran to legally export crude oil under the interim agreement. Tehran viewed the move as a direct violation of the understanding reached between the two countries. At the same time, another unresolved dispute continued to grow over who should control the Strait of Hormuz. Iran insists it should regulate shipping and eventually charge transit fees, while the United States and several Gulf countries reject any such arrangement. The ceasefire had always been intended as a temporary arrangement before comprehensive negotiations covering Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, maritime security, and regional stability, but those talks never truly got underway. Instead, fresh military exchanges overtook diplomacy. Political rhetoric made matters even worse. Trump declared the ceasefire effectively finished and described dealing with Iran as a waste of time, while Iranian leaders accused Washington of bullying and repeatedly violating the Memorandum of Understanding. Analysts say the ceasefire was always fragile because it addressed only immediate military hostilities while leaving the toughest political questions unanswered. Iran's nuclear program, long-term sanctions relief, regional proxy conflicts, security guarantees, and the future governance of the Strait of Hormuz all remained unresolved. With trust between Washington and Tehran now deteriorating even further, hopes of a lasting peace have dimmed significantly. For now, diplomacy faces its biggest test yet. If both sides fail to return to negotiations, the consequences could stretch far beyond the Middle East. Any prolonged instability around the Strait of Hormuz threatens global oil supplies, energy prices, and international trade. And with military strikes once again replacing diplomacy, the biggest question now is whether this is merely another breakdown in talks or the beginning of a much wider regional conflict.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.